All right, welcome to part 4 of the Oklahoma-Auburn basketball game from a few weeks ago. We do have a part 1, part 2, part 3. Appreciate it if you go watch those as well and help us out with subscribes and likes and shares. Those are always very helpful for our channel and what we're doing here. So this is a DeadThree film breakdown. We've done a number of things, and Auburn's really doing a great job with my focus has really been trying to watch number 10 play, Jabari Smith, I believe his name is. Again, I saw in a meeting yesterday, or I'm sorry, on an Instagram story yesterday, that he is now in like these mock drafts, a top, the top pick, right above Holmgren and above Banchero and some of these other folks. So don't know too much about him. I've watched 6 minutes of him here. Nothing in this game so far stands out, right? So we're talking about a team that's 19-1, that's played 20 games. He's the leading scorer. So obviously my looking at him and how I feel about him as a top pick in the draft is, 6 minutes, right? And just a few touches. So anyway, this is a big game, and I do like the aggressiveness, although the last possession or two that Oklahoma has had out of a timeout has been pretty productive, right? But Auburn, as my other clips that we've watched with Kansas and Duke and Gonzaga, the ball's just much better when that happens, right? When that happens. But here's the difference. And you'd have to go back and watch part 1, 2, and 3, right? But these passes for Oklahoma at the start of all this, the start of the game, were uncontested passes. They were not extended out beyond, the NBA three, like beyond NBA, right? Auburn was catching these right in range and rhythm as it relates to the 3-point line, right? So now they're not right here, right? Automatically in a timeout at the 16-minute mark, they are pushed out to almost half court, right? So that was I'm willing to bet, like I mentioned, I think Coach Mosier is a heck of a coach. I have enjoyed watching him, but I'm willing to bet he really got after everybody during that media timeout about toughness and playing a little bit harder and how they switched, which they're probably like they are just scrambling right now. So the energy is completely different in the two possessions we've seen since, right? So here's dribble handoff, here's change, there's a cut through. It's a cut through. It's not a screen. There's a switch. All right, now we got big on small. Right. So big on small, we're not going to switch. He fights over, he falls down, but look, they stay in it. Right. This whole thing is so much better. Watch the guys on the weak side. Look at how he jumps over now. They were playing out here the first 4 or 5 minutes of this game. Now this guy, he literally jumps over. Somebody's yelling at him, get over, get over, get over. And he jumps over to the midline to support any sort of drive. And this guy here, look, he sees it. I don't think 55 loses vision with it, but he points up right here, right? Like throw it up, right? And he goes to, there's some energy here, right? And it's that easy, guys. But it's one of these things, right? It's such a tough gig when it's one guy, right? And so it takes a media timeout or burning a timeout for a coach to get after everybody. And I'm assuming that's what's happened for them to get this, completely different. Guy falls down, big stays with the ball. We're protecting the weak side so much so that we're jumping because we think we're getting lobs. We stay on it here. He's playing big on small here on the low post, but he's bodying it up, trying to be tough. And everybody's got vision. Everybody's active. Everybody's got high hands, and everybody's got some energy to complete that. So apologize for my morning coffee breaks. But now all of a sudden, I don't know if that's Goldwire or somebody else, but look, ooh, right? So we get the foul, but this is what I like. Turnovers above free throw line or turnovers before it gets to the hole, right? So he's trying to play draw and kick where he came from, which is fine. There's this time to go hesitate right there. And if he completes it, that's a good gig, right? This guy should be spaced a little bit more, right? Because this guy right here is playing him. Right. But he's got to cover the big because this guy's here protecting on the ball screen or protecting on that ball screen. So he's got to cover low, but that's the right look. We just didn't get it. He gets it. We get an open 3 and we go. But now it's 3-on-2, right? It's 3-on-2. I don't know. I think that this guy's a rim runner. You don't have time to get wide because you're in front of the ball and it's a 3-on-2 and you have nobody protecting. Like you're not trying to separate anybody or space anybody defensively. You are just trying, right? At this point, you are just trying to outrun folks, right? So we're at the free throw line. Oklahoma has not played well up to this point at all in terms of energy, but now they are after the timeout. So what they make these two, it could be 11-9. You're only down 2 and you're not playing that well, right? So now these, that's number 10. So that's Jabari Smith. He was out. So a quick change with the media timeout. They've sat him long enough. So what, he came out at the 15-minute mark or whatever. So let's get it going. So he makes the first one, makes the second one. So now Oklahoma, you know, and they have not played great. You know, they've had their opportunities for shots, but they haven't played great. So Jabari Smith's in, right? So change, dribble handoff, cut through, right? So here's the thing. And we're trying hard to convince our kid, it's okay, right? The ball's changed. You've made the first pass as a point guard. We're not coming down trying to drive it against a set defense. We're not taking contested threes. This guy's pushed out, right? But if anything, like right here, we got a cut through, right? So now we get the ball screen. So we're getting some offense going. Elbow. I don't know if I believe it's Kessler is how you say his name, right? There is a screen, right? So if this is a rough angle playing slot to block, right? We don't, you know, we coach our kids to not go from slot lane line extended to block, right? So if that's just such a hard angle to feed, it's a hard angle to read, it's a hard angle to see, right? So he would create the angle by coming here if you wanted to throw that lob, but I don't believe he's looking to throw that lob, right? So there's the screen though, and then we're going to run it into pick and roll right here, right? So there's the pick and roll. I like how he takes it away. I do like that. I like guys that screen lower, wider, stronger, right here, right? That's lower, wider, stronger, right? So then he comes back though. He gets this guy leaning. Now he comes back. There it is. So they're doubling, right? He stunts to slow. He stunts to level the dribble off. So he leveled it off and he recovered. So once my guy recovers, like this guy's playing too. He is the guy playing Smith. So how are we recovering out of it? Good. We get what we want. Now Smith has it. So here's what I think, right? Another coffee break here. But what I think is this is their best player, mock draft #1 player taken in the draft. He's got the ball. So he's great, right? So he's a pro, right? So, you know, I like this idea of even leaving this guy out, playing more in here if you're gold wire #0 and covering block and covering elbow, right? So cover down, cover elbow. Like I like the idea if we were playing like, hey, every time Smith has the ball, he's got to see 3, 1, 2, 3, like, and he's got to see it, right? So that, like, man, he might pull it, right? It looks like he's rhythming him up. This guy's got to be over. The great player has it, right? And #1 knows it. Right. So, whoa, right. So here, listen, if you're a pro, you can make that shot, right? And he's taking that shot because he can make it. I like it that this guy's ready. It's just the small things, right? I know nothing about this guy, but I like it that he's ready, even though he's on the logo, right? Right. So here's the thing that we talk about. This shot right here, if he's going to miss it 6 times or 5 times, if he's great, right? He's missing it 5 times. 4 to 5 of those things are coming off this side right here. So how good can we be here? How good can we be on the weak side of the floor? Because that is without question, in my opinion, a toughness, the tough position, right? So we got to find so this guy, look, the time before in the Kansas game, I believe it was, or maybe it was this game, like that's a foul. It's not a foul when you have your hands up. Right. So he's not calling it. He didn't call it that time. His hands were up. Porter's going to be mad. Right. And now we're in scramble. Right. So I like this 2 guy. Like that's how you play. Like I know nothing about #2, but I wish he was on my team. I like this guy a lot. So we didn't get the rebound. That's fine. He sprints to close out, sprints to close out. And he's still in a position to play that drive. Like this guy wants to get his, and it's a offensive rebound where you want to drive against the scramble, but 2's not having it. So now he's pushed out. Now we're running pick and roll. They're back into the shot clock. Hands are up. Hands are up. That's a clinic right there. That is a clinic for number 2. They get the switch, like there's like, okay, so we're just going to pound it, right? And then he's probably going to get a foul. I have no idea if they call that. That would suck if they call that, as hard as this guy has worked, and the fact that they gave up an offensive rebound and that they're deep into the shot clock at 5. Like that, I don't know if they call a foul, but I don't know what they're going to do here. And they called a block, right? That's such a rough gig. That's such a rough gig because we just watched how hard this guy plays, right? The whole possession, right? So they get the offensive rebound, 2 covers down. He sprints to close out. He's got high hands, energy, determination, tenacity here. He's got a hand up. He controls the ball. Here's the switch. He's denying. He gets it. Like he's in position to help here, right? The pickup, like all this is perfect. 5 seconds on the shot clock. 4, and it's an off. Like you got to celebrate it, right? You've got to celebrate that play. Auburn took an interesting shot. I just don't know the guy, Smith, well enough, other than he's a high draft pick. That's all I know. So it's a rough shot. Maybe it's a great shot, right? And look, they're going to run kind of this zipper cut that I call it, big on a pin down, right? Not necessarily a zipper cut. There's a high ball screen with Smith. Now they switch it. So now my guy, and keep in mind, in part 1, I got after him because I wasn't sure how great he is as a 3. And it looks like he's putting the brakes on short, right? They switched the ball screen. So now Smith has the point guard on him. And so what I'm curious about is here, watch, here's the big on small screen with Jabari. So Smith is going to set a lot of ball screens because he's going to roll, and we're hoping to get, like they're talking it out immediately. So it's not like, hey, an emergency switch. It's the prescribed switch, right? And look, he's helping a little bit, but that's the thing, right? Watch. This is scouting report and knowing who you're playing. Know who you're playing, know what they can do, right? So that's what you have to be great at, right? And what we do know now is they don't think he can shoot. Now, I looked at the stats for this game. He ends up going 2 for 4, and he ends up with 22, 23 points. And so he has a heck of a game. But right now, like, he's not looking. So he puts the brake on, and watch what he does. He takes 2 steps back. Somebody's got to protect here. And so the thing we need to watch here is, let's see how tough number 2 is. We know he's tough on the perimeter, but look, he's fighting. He's fighting. He's fighting, but he's got vision. And good on 55. Ball gets swung. Ball is swung. Look at how he covers, and covers with touch, covers with contact, right? 2's maybe a little, look at 2 locked in, but here's another 3. There's a change, couple pounds, 1, 2, 3, right? So here's a pound on another hop back that I think this guy had before. But here's what's interesting. This shot's going up. I'm not sure it's a great shot. It's a 1-step closeout. It's a hop back, but he made one earlier, right? It's a 2-point game, 12 on the shot clock. But now what's interesting is I'm curious about what's going to happen here on the weak side, because if that ball gets missed, it might be coming over here. We have nobody to block out here if this guy, in fact, goes in. But you do have the number 1 player in the draft right here. Potentially, right? I wonder if we squeeze him. I wonder how physical we are going to be on this shot. So let's watch it. There's the shot, and ball went front rim, right? So again, I think this ball more often than not comes here, but look 55. Okay. And look 2, watch 2, watch 2, watch 2. It's not even his man, right? So that's, you got to love that, right? If you're watching this, you've got to love that. You've got to love this whole possession by number 2, right? We should all go get Oklahoma jerseys, number 2s, right? This guy went weak, controlled the ball. There was a foul up here, but you can't fault him for that foul. He rebounds the weak side, and now hopefully he's running. Now 55 is kind of a 3-4, it looks like, and is allowed to push it. Then they get it to Goldwire. Again, everything's high ball screen. Everything in basketball seems to be this high ball screen, but here's why it's important. What I need to do with my group is run my group a little flatter to the baseline to open. Look at how flat they are. Like they run to corners. They run to corners. So instead of this guy being here, they flatten them out even more. But what I like is, because they're flat, and what Oklahoma did at it coming out of the media timeout was they were really active on the weak side of the floor. So this is what I'm talking about. Ball's way over here. You should be right here. Ball's right there. You're probably in a good spot, right? It depends on how much you want to reverse it. But because here's the roll, they're not getting it. So it's And now we're going to just kind of post and chicken fight and do some of that stuff. There's a reverse. Yep. So two's feeling it, right? So watch, he doesn't come off any sort of, it's, what is it, a pick and pop? Nope. It's just, they switch it. Do they switch it? They switch it on purpose, maybe, right? I'm not sure. They switched the ball screen. So we have the right matchups here. We have Smith there. So it's big, point big, right? If that makes sense. It's a 1 and a 5 or a 1 and a 4, and it's 4-5, right? So somehow they just didn't get matched up here, right? Possibly. I'm thinking that, this is not the matchup they want there. But anyway, so they switch it, they roll it. Now we've got 5-on-1. 5-on-1, they switch it. So they're switching everything. Now, so you're shooting this, an NBA shot from the logo with Kessler, who's probably going to get a hand up at some point. Not great, right? And that could be like, you make it, great shot. So then we're like, look at how fast, for our group, for those watching, right? Rebound, wide, calling for it, sprinting. Now look, Kessler's already, look at who's covering Kessler, right? So there's no big covering them. All the bigs are down there jammed. Kessler has got free run. I'm not saying he gets it, and he does, right? Because the bigs got to cut. Oh, they throw it weak, right? So this is what you get when you run hard, right? So they don't convert it. That's fine. Why is this open? Why is this open? So this will be our last possession of the 4-possession morning, right? But it's open. Here's why it's open. It's open because we have a big running, right? We have a big that is running the middle of the floor to occupy right here. That's why it's open. Goldwire doesn't know who to take. This is his man. He's even pointing. He's pointing up. We got 3 guys locked in on the ball, which is fine. We should be here and they should be running here. You can't let it's like, you can't let anybody behind you, right? And Goldwire does right here. Goldwire really doesn't know he's behind them. So do they make it? No. Do they get lucky with it? Yeah, they do. Like listen, if you're the number 1 team in the nation and you're 19-1 and you're up 11-9 and you convert this on your home court in a packed house where everybody's got painter hats on, right? That's going to get the place going, right? It's, you need that, but man, you need that. Like that's I know people love that play. You need to have that, right? So he's upset. Like, I'm not quite sure what he's upset about. You're getting kind of what you want. He doesn't like the turnover, but I don't think that's what he's screaming about. But I really like how Kessler's running the floor. Let's go one more possession here in terms of what Oklahoma might be doing. All right. I like it that they put 3 outside the paint and wide. So, wider, lower, more extended, more space, all that. So here comes a side pick and roll from kind of, the slot area where we can go downhill right there. So we go downhill with Goldwire. Now what are we doing? Are we just playing one-on-one? Are we taking Kessler away? So we're just pounding, right? And now we have a basket cut. I have no idea what it looks like he's about to fall, right? And we're back cutting to 2 bigs, 6'10", 6'11", 7 foot. I have no idea. So it's to the shooter, my bad, right? So here's a pick and pop. Somebody's cutting. He back cuts it. So there's the back cut, and he takes that guy with him. But look, Kessler's always in a position on a 1-step closeout. It's happened in part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. But he peaks, gets it up. Look at how that now good on in part 2, we saw Smith not want to close out on a shooter, but he goes from elbow all the way over and he gets outside the paint and ready to take charge, right? So watch what he does. The ball gets changed. He falls down, but watch how everybody stunts to this drive. So this is good on Auburn. He gets up, this guy gets up here. He sprints over from the other lane line and they swarm on it, right? Look at ready for charge, hands up, like, but here's the dump down. I'm not sure they get it. It'd be good if this guy were right there, jammed down. This guy's got to cover 2. This guy's got a 3 if he's right here. But this is what he sees. Goldwire right there, right? So he's covering himself because he's about to take a hit possibly, but it would be good if his hands were up. Look at that pass. So he goes between 3, and that, reason number 1 why you might be the number 1 pick in the draft. Look, so he helps. Watch this. He stunts over and helps, and he goes with high hands, which is awesome. But then right here, they're beat. He's not even there. He's behind the 3. Oh, it's 13. I'm sorry, my bad. So it's Kessler. Kessler's the one that gets a piece of it. So Kessler rotates quick. Look, 7 foot, huge wingspan, 6'1", 6'2", whatever it is, right? That's what you need, right? And then they are going, right? Let's just see how this finishes up. Everybody's running. Look at, they're throwing it around. Now they're in a set, right? So like the play here is built around the peak to get him leaning, to get him off. Like, it's a great shot fake. It's not a good shot fake. It's a great shot fake, right? To get that ball up. Okay. Really, and we'll just finish it. Show it again. Shot fake, totally off balance, totally stood up. There's your help. Now, if he doesn't have the help, he's got dump downs, he's got dunks, he's got this guy to own the line, but three swarmed on it. And it's nice to have a 7-footer with a wingspan that can block shots. Listen, appreciate all the support that you've given to the channel. Love talking ball. If you could subscribe to this, share it, like it. The big subscribe things are great right now. If you could subscribe to this and share it so other people subscribe, hopefully you're getting some value out of this. This is a great game. We're going to pivot maybe to the Michigan State game from a few weeks ago next. But again, really appreciate all the help that you've given and support you've given to the channel. Thank you.